welcome, guys. It is nice to see you. Let's see who's here. Let's do a roll call quick.
All right. Alexia, Elijah, Dom, Abby, Darius, Finley, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Alan, Maya. I don't know if I said Darius already. Sam, William, Annie, Abigail, Alexis, Regan, Jocelyn, or Reagan, sorry, don't have you as a student. Hannah, Haley, Gabe, Emily, Donald Trump, big boy. Going all the way up. And Eli was first today.
Where's Bernie Sanders? He isn't coming anymore.
Supreme Ginger 77 is here. Another Abby, Astrid, Cameron. Getting some other names popping in there.
Yeah, it was telling me we had 0 watching when we first started, but now it's saying 34. So not as many as we want, but we'll take what we get. Real quick, grade books are looking good. There's some of you out there who've done everything, and there's some of you out there that have done nothing, and those people I'm probably not speaking to right now anyway. So congratulations to the people that have done everything.
Yeah, quick shout out to my students that have done everything. Lainey, David, Stacy, Connor, Aiden M, Jessica, Annie, Chris, Giselle, Madison, Stark, Sammy, Emily, Arisbeth, and Haven. Good job. Just saying. Everything done. Every single thing in the grade book.
I would read my students that have done everything, give you guys a big shout out, but there's too many of you, so just play with it.
A couple of you I'm missing just like the DNA structure notes. And like, that's it. Or you didn't take the transcription and translation quiz. Like I've got a huge list where it's just missing one. Everything's updated in the grade book. Double check the question marks. Anything like that is in there. And I don't have it. So just make sure that you double check. Like I said, a lot of you somehow missed taking that transcription and translation quiz. So make sure that you get in there and you take that. That's on day... Mr. Shooter, do you know what day that's on?
It's the end of the second week.
End of the second week.
And I'll just add to that. If you have question marks or exclamation points, you should reach out to us.
Alexia, I am missing your DNA structure notes.
All right. So with that, we tell you every day how much your teachers and administrators and fellow students miss you and miss seeing you every day, miss hearing from you. And as always, we have a guest for you today. So please welcome to the stream, the one, the only, Mr. Palmer.
Hola, buenos dias. How are you guys? I miss you all, and I'm seeing a lot of names on here that are getting my work done as well. So, muy bien, keep it up, and good job getting your bio stuff done. It's awesome that you're showing up here every day. Muy bien. Yeah, it's been crazy not coming in every day to see you all, but I hope you're doing well, staying safe. And this is really cool. I'm like looking at your comments here.
That's Elijah Minton said, nice stash.
Hey, thank you. Yes, growing it out, doing what we can. I think like I know my dad started growing out a mustache, and Mr. Wyrick is growing out a little bit of a beard. So I think we're all doing what we can for the cause, you know?
I stopped shaving too.
Is that right?
I did. It's getting out of hand.
That's great. Yeah, you got an awesome beard there.
All right.
Very cool.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Shay, Abigail Bossy. A lot of I'm seeing these names every day. Guys, if we don't say your names every day, please don't. We love seeing them. We notice you every time you chat. And those lurkers out there, like, is anybody seen Emma today?
And don't say hello. Come on now.
Oh, there's William. Hey, William. William Hatfield. Nice.
Speaking of which, intended sheet, Mr. Suitor.
Emma likes to lurk. So where's Emma? Let's get her.
Hey, Dom. Hello.
She's a lurker.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Shay. I don't know if I know. Do I know Shay?
It's crazy, right? Like the names after we've been gone now for 3 weeks. It started.
Yeah, right. Just gone. No, that's more at the middle school where I have like hundreds of students. So. Gotta stay fresh.
All right, so I'm getting the attendance form for you because I forgot. Mrs. Smith forgot to remind me.
Daniel.
I just said it. I just
Hola.
said attendance sheet. I thought about it.
Repping Penn State. Nice.
Relax.
Form.
Oh, there's Diana. Hola.
All right, and there's today's attendance form. Great, Ben. So everybody, thank Mr. Palmer for coming by. We really appreciate it. It's nice to see your face too. I mean, we miss our fellow teachers. Oh, there's Emma.
Yeah.
Hi, Emma.
Hey, there she is.
Lurking.
Lurking. Well, good to see you all and have fun with bio today. Make sure you're learning and doing your blend work.
All right, man. Thanks for stopping in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. See you guys.
See you later.
Take care.
All right. So, biology.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we started talking about mutations. And so we gave you kind of a takeaway. We wanted you to go home and just take a piece of DNA, change it to mRNA, find the amino acids, and then think about what are some other ways that we could make mutations. So Mrs. Smith talked about insertions and deletions. She talked about frame shift yesterday. She's going to talk a little bit more about that today, or review that a little bit later here. What's the other way? What are the other ways? Now, Eli, did you come up with that word on your own? Did you come up with that word on your own?
Sorry.
I don't know what's going on over there at Mrs. Smith's house. First of all, it sounds like the dog has been urinating on the floor for the last 20 minutes. All right, in the middle. All right, so I'm seeing substitution. Right, yes, okay, so it's in middle. But sure, we want to go home and think about mutation. Yeah. So you opened the last session, latest lesson. Yeah, so we went in there. Somebody said they had duplication. All right, so let's talk about this idea of substitution. So there's really, it's kind of interesting if you think about it. So the idea is, like, what if one letter changes? So Mrs. Smith said, like, we can take a letter out and the whole thing moves. We can put a letter in and the whole thing moves. But what if we just change one letter? What if all those fail-safes fail and one letter gets changed? And there's really three things that could happen. And that's what we want to talk about. So I'm going to do a couple things here. First of all, I'm going to share my screen. Maybe, because I need an amino acid chart. So here's an amino acid chart, I think. Right, here's one. Share. All right, so there's an amino acid chart. We need that. Let's see if I can make that just a little bit bigger for you. We got to get rid of this. Cancel that. All right, so a little bit bigger. Hopefully you can see that. There's our amino acid chart. And I need to show you where I'm writing. So if you bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to switch that cam over to our document camera. All right. Let's flip-flop that. Can we do that? We probably can't. Let's make this one big. Oh, this is going to be, it's going to take some serious thinking. All right, here's this. So what I have is one piece, one codon right here. This is going to be our original codon that we're going to start with every time. And so what you're going to see is, if we look over here, there's been one change to that codon. So let me grab a color pen and we'll mark the change. So in this case, the change is going to be right here. And I'm just doing that so you can see it. If we go over one more, we're going to change that original again, but now the change is right here. Right? And then the change is right here. So we've changed that 3 letters. So what is going to happen each time? Well, to really understand what's going to happen, we need to know what amino acid we're making. So if we have ACA, and we come over here, A, C, A. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I did this right. No, I didn't. Didn't do it right. Gotta come back over here. Getting ahead of myself. What's the first thing that we, in the chat, what's the first, before I can go find the amino acid, what's the first thing I need to do over here? I need to change this DNA codon to what? So this is DNA. going across here, I need to change it to what? So we're going to change it right down here. Somebody tell me quick. mRNA. Thank you, Gladys. That was almost disastrous in front of Mrs. Smith. She'd never let me let that down. All right, so we're going to change it to mRNA. So ACA in mRNA is going to be what? A goes to U, C goes to G, A goes to U. And let's just do it for the other three potential changes, right? So we're going to have A, G, C. A goes to U, G, A, U, G, G. Again, the one that's different from that original one is always that last one. All right, let's look up some amino acids. So the first one was UGU. And if we look, UGU, UGU is right here. That is CYS. I think it's cysteine. Where's that the chapel? I'm not sure. Sorry. That's the first amino acid. That's the amino acid. Now, if we come back over here and look, if we change that last one, it's now UGC. So let's look that up. UGC is still cysteine. So I'm writing it down for you. The next one, the next change, UGA, that's a stop codon. And the stop codon means you stop reading the DNA. And the last one is UGG. Let's look that up. UGG. That's tryptophan. TRP. All right. That makes me tired. All right. So now I want you to look at this and think about it really quick. What do you notice? There's three possibilities. Can we quantify or qualify those three possibilities? So if we have, here's my original. Keep in mind, this is my original. This is what I was supposed to get. I was supposed to get the CYS. This is what would be in. So remember, this is just one codon in a string of thousands, right? So we'd have all of these different amino acids being put together. When we got to ACA, we were supposed to get this amino acid. If we change just the last letter in the original code to a G, look what happens. We get the same amino acid. All right. So what is that? Is that bad? I mean, is that a problem? Right? Probably not a problem, right? So what would we call that? This is a specific type of mutation. We're going to call this a silent mutation. And if you think about that, it makes sense, right? It's a silent mutation because there's been a change to the DNA code, but that change never shows up in the protein.
And just to interject for a second, you know, if you look back at that amino acid chart or that codon chart, if Mr. Suter will put that there for a second, notice that that is built in to most amino acids, that last letter, to have that potential. That's called the wobble effect. That last letter is kind of there in case of a small mutation or a small error when writing DNA.
Right. That's cool. So if we jump back over here, look at the next one. UGA, we change that last letter. Now we get a stop codon. This is a problem. Because imagine we have 1,000 amino acids we're going to put in order. And that amino acid number 50 got changed to a stop codon. That means the whole process is going to stop. It's going to stop reading the DNA, right? Which means we're not going to get most of our protein. So this is called a nonsense mutation, right? Which kind of makes sense, right? Get it? Sense? Makes nonsense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Kind of makes sense. Does make sense. And then the last one, we get a totally different amino acid. And when we get that totally different amino acid, we call that a missense. And I just want to go back. We're going to turn it over to Mrs. Smith here any second. But I want you to think about these 3 types because I want you to think about what we were talking about yesterday. It's really important. Why is this important? Why do we care? Like, what's the reason? Because think about amino acids. Go all the way back to when we talked about proteins. We make amino acids into enzymes. The order of the amino acids gets folded up into a protein. Proteins can act as enzymes and other things. But what we talked about is how important that shape is, right? So think about the keys you have in your household. Think about how important those keys are. If you take your dad's car key, in a normal times, if you took your dad's car key and filed a couple of the teeth off of it so it would no longer start the car, think about how bad that would be. If you were at school and left your keys in my classroom and as a joke, I changed your key for your house. Think about how bad that would be. So any mutation that changes the shape of the protein is going to be bad. Frame shifts, whether it's a deletion or an insertion, are bad, right? Missense, if we change the amino acid, bad. Nonsense, if we change it and big stop, bad. Now, I do have to qualify one little thing before I hand it back to Mrs. Smith, because I just made a very enormous error. I said any mutation that changes the shape of the protein is bad. But if there's one thing that we know in science, rules never apply to everything. So if we start talking about evolution and how evolution happens, it happens because of changes. And where do we get changes? Sometimes we get them from mutations. So normally, mutations are bad. Every once in a while, though, you might luck out. So I'm going to turn over to Mrs. Smith and let her go over the next thing with you. It's kind of reviewing.
So that kind of leads right into what I was thinking about as Mr. Suter was talking about mutations, not always being bad, but it does depend on the situation. So I'm going to give you a specific, okay? Does anybody know what sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease is? Anybody tell me in the comments what, sickle cell disease is and what it affects? Anything you know about sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia? Nobody, or it's just taking time. Wow. Usually I have actually a few students that actually have it. I've had students that have sickle cell. Okay, good. So it's not that there's not enough red blood cells, but it does affect the red blood cells or the hemoglobin. And so when we talk about blood cells, okay, and specifically hemoglobin, they're really important because they carry oxygen all over your body. Okay, so hemoglobin is a protein, which means it's produced from the ribosomes using translation, et cetera, et cetera. And so when we talk about sickle cell disease is actually a single point mutation where one single A in the DNA, one single adenine is changed to a thymine. And when that happens, the glutamic acid, which is one example of an amino acid, is then changed to a valine. So you change the amino acid. And what you get then is you get a completely different shape. And so if you look at this picture that Mr. Suter is going to put up in a second for you, that I'm going to put up there, is that you can see the difference between a typical hemoglobin cell that's nice, round on the left, that are just going to carry that oxygen, and then the sickle cell. That is one single change. Now, with that, in like our society where malaria is low, having sickle cell disease can be dangerous and it's not good because you're not getting as much oxygen carried into your body and can cause more blood clots. But in some areas of Africa where there's higher percentages of malaria, people with sickle cell disease actually don't get malaria. So something that could be bad, a mutation that could be bad one place might be preferable somewhere else. So we see higher amounts of or percentages of people in Africa having sickle cell disease because it's actually a beneficial trait to have. Okay, so just a quick kind of look over on that. So now we're going to kind of review all of the mutations that we've kind of gone over. And so what I like to do when I am dealing with mutations is that I look at them in terms of words. And so I have this document that I created that kind of goes over a sentence. So Mr. Suter's going to hopefully pull that up as well for you in a second. And so the original sentence is, hey, did the fat cat eat the rat? And you'll notice that when we're looking at this, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit larger if I can. It's not liking that, but we'll see. Is that I put it specifically as 3-word or 3-letter words. So it represents the codon. So if we write down in here and we break this up, we've got, hey, did the fat cat eat the rat? Okay. A substitution, or sometimes known as a point mutation, that is silent, that Mr. Suter talked about, doesn't change the meaning of the sentence. So you'll notice in the first codon or the first word, it's still hey. It's just a different type of hey. And so it still means the same thing. Hey, did the fat cat eat the rat? When you say it out loud, it sounds the same. That's a silent mutation. You're going to get the same amino acid. With a substitution that is a missense, okay, it's going to change it a little bit more. And so for this, it does change an amino acid. So instead of the fat cat eating the bat or the rat, the fat cat ate the bat. And so that's going to change the amino acid. With a nonsense, okay, that's when it cuts it off. And so, hey, did the fat cat, it never really finishes that thought. And so that's when you hit a stop codon too early in the protein. So for all 3 of those, when we're looking at those are all types of substitutions where you're changing one letter for another. Sometimes you're not going to make a difference. Sometimes it is. And then yesterday I talked about frame shift. So I put the 2 in here with a single nucleotide insertion or a single nucleotide deletion. So an insertion or deletion, we're talking about frame shift. And so that changes everything after wherever that point was inserted. So if you notice, hey, A, did the fat cat eat the rat? Okay, we're not in Canada, so we don't usually say A. It's going to change everything. And technically, if I break it up into the 3 words or the 3-letter words, it would really be, hey, Addie, Ditha, Itha, Tissie, T, Yara, T. So that doesn't even make sense at all. And then a single nucleotide deletion, again, we're going to completely change what letters we are talking about that go with each of those. So what I want you to think about is what type of mutation, point or substitution or frame shift, makes a bigger impact on the protein. So what makes a bigger impact on the protein? A substitution mutation or a frame shift mutation? Good. Okay, a deletion or a frame shift. So whether it's an insertion, a deletion, either way, a frame shift does make a larger impact on the protein because every single thing after it is changed. Okay, good. Did I miss anything, Mr. Suter?
No, I don't think so. So, what else do we have going on? Sorry. So last thing here, I think Mrs. Smith got it all. The last thing here we need to talk about is what we're gonna do here after this thing. So sorry, I got a little confused. We have the Mutations Worksheet. So if you look in the middle, you'll find this Mutations Worksheet. We're gonna assign this today. We don't expect you to finish it today. We'd like you to take a look at it. Maybe you will. I don't think it will take all that long. We've been in here about 25 minutes. We told you we're trying to keep work, whatever. Our idea is kind of this. Take a look at it today. Start working on it. If you find it easy and it's no problem, go ahead and finish it. If you're struggling with it, maybe tomorrow in the live stream, we're going to take some time and give some pointers and go over pieces of it, and then you can finish it after that.
Where I am highlighting, just to make sure, because I still have people doing this wrong. Up there at the top, where it says 2020, that you're not changing it there. You are taking this, you are going up to this section and changing this to 2020-mutations-PD, and then your number. Please do not leave that pound sign. Please put in the actual period that you are in for class and then your last name. This allows us to find it.
Those little directions underneath of that's not above your mental capacity either, guys. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Like, you can probably follow those directions pretty easily. Anyway, you'll notice some things. The takeaway you did last night looked exactly like this. So it starts out that way. We were trying to get you used to that idea. Everything we talked about today is talked about here again. So if you read this, this will help you figure stuff out. But I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Take a look at it today. Join us tomorrow in the live stream. We'll give you some hints and stuff if you're having trouble with it. But I think that's it for today, right? Because we wanted to keep it, we don't want to overwhelm you. If you've been here for the live stream, if you tuned in for the live stream, take a couple minutes, look at this. We'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow. All right?
Do you want to put the attendance sheet again at the bottom for those people that popped in late? And then if you notice on here, there is that link to use this amino acid chart where it's blue. That's a link. You just click on it, and that'll take you to the amino acid chart that you want to use.
And you didn't really need to share the takeaway from yesterday. It was just something we wanted you to look at.
Yeah, if you shared it, I took a quick look, but I am not putting in any points for that.
All right, there's the attendance sheet again. I think with that, that's it. You have anything else, Mrs. Smith?
Nope, miss y'all.
Yeah, we do. We miss you. So we'll see you soon. Stay safe. Wash your hands. We love you.